House. Last time I spoke to this monthly meeting, we were in that room. How many of you are here for the first time? Raise your hand. That is amazing. Okay. People ask me, why do you stay in California? Why are you staying in California and fighting? And I know all of you here probably are thinking about leaving the state, right? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. You're on those sites, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, trying to figure out what you can get for your place here and what you can get somewhere else. But I have to implore you, you need to stay and fight. You cannot flee. And there are 3 reasons why. Number one, I'll be damned if I surrender a state that I used to be proud of to the left. I'll be damned if we will let them ruin this state, because if we allow them to complete their final elements of their plan, then they're not going to stop with California. Make no mistake about it, they're going to have the contagion spread. And I've always said that you cannot have a secure, safe, and healthy America with a sick California. So if you're a patriot and you love your country, this is the part of the battlefield where you must stand and fight. It is the bloodiest part of the battlefield. I will give you that. It is daunting. It is difficult. We have everything stacked against us. Okay, think about it in California. If you're a conservative, everything is stacked against you. It's not a fair fight. You got the liberal media out here that just gaslights galore and lies to the people. When crime goes up, they say, oh, nope, it's actually safe. It's all fine. Or if crime goes up, it's really a gun control issue, not a criminal issue. They sit there and they say that there's nothing about our school that's wrong that you can't fix with just having a lesson on personal pronouns. And of course, $7 a gallon of gas, it's price gouging by the evil oil companies. Funny thing, they don't price gouge in the 49 other states. Is that why we pay $2.50 more? So the media is against us. The politicians get all the money from special interests. So the money is against us. Money goes where the power is. The big corporations, the lobbyists, the labor unions, they give money to people in power, and Republicans ain't in power in California. So they have unlimited money. Then they use our own tax dollars against us. They are taking tax dollars and funding far left-wing groups. Make no mistake about it, the anti-Second Amendment groups are funded by everyone in this room if you're a taxpayer. Right. And I guarantee that you're not going to see money flow to pro-2A groups. And so it is unfair out here. But this is our burden to bear if we love our country, because this will spread. Second, I got to say, we are actually moving the needle. It doesn't seem that way, because every time we convert an independent or a Democrat to our cause, and they are converted, we have to make up for someone that just leaves. So for everyone who leaves, I now have to convert 2 people to actually move the needle. And let me just say that in California, we can see the numbers as to why we are moving the needle. We've got the House majority for the Republicans. Not that they're doing anything good about it, but we've got that majority, which is stopping the bad agenda at least, because of the seats we won in California. In 2020 and 2022, we won 4 seats in the House of Representatives. Actually in 2020 we won 4 seats. And the last time we actually won 1 seat was 1998. So we were declining every year. We got 4 seats in the House of Representatives. Then we added a 5th in 2022, but that was unexpected. Because in 2021 they redistricted. They said, you know those 4 seats that you guys got in 2020? Well, we're going to change the map. They packed Republicans, the few that are of us that are left, into a couple districts, and then made everything else blue and purple. And they were predicting that we would lose up to 6 seats. The National Republican Party, and by the way, never give money to the National Party. They'll never send it back here. It'll go everywhere but California. The National Party left us for dead in the ditch. They said, oh, we're probably going to lose 4, maybe all 6. We won all 6 defense seats. And a guy I recruited in Central Valley flipped, surprisingly, a 7th seat. So 7 seats in 2022 is what we won that they were not expecting. Target seats. Had we fled and not fought, we would have had 7 seats go to the Democrats. And you know what our majority is in Washington? Well, it started out as 5 seats. Those feckless cowards keep resigning. And so now we're down to, I think, a 1-seat majority for a while. And so until someone realizes that, Nancy Pelosi doesn't actually have a pulse, so she should be disqualified anyway, or a heart. But you can thank a California conservative for staying and fighting for the check on Joe Biden. I would just wish that the people fleeing would just stay. Instead of voting with your feet, vote with your ballot. Just stay and fight. Help us out here. The third reason why you shouldn't flee, the grass ain't greener on the other side. Okay? I always say this, that your government can change. In California, it's going to be hard to change our government back to something more rational and more balanced. But it can happen, and we're going to talk about a plan tonight that's going to help achieve that. And we have a track record of results. If more people get involved, we're going to be able to do it. But your government can also change in the other direction if you go to one of those so-called red states. How many of you have friends who moved in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, who went to the red states of Nevada and Arizona? How's that working out for you? You're now moving to, they're all moving to another state. And by the way, governments can change, but one thing that doesn't change, alligators, mosquitoes, and humidity, okay? You're gonna be stuck with that crap in those other states. So come on, all right? The only rational, patriotic move is for us to stay and fight. Here's our problem. Here's the main challenge we have. We have no leadership that's leading the fight. We don't have a plan as to how we're going to go to the battlefield and engage. And that's why I founded Reform California. I got sick and tired of the Republican Party of California surrendering and not finding its ass with a search party and a map. And I said, we got to do something different. And so Reform California has done things different. We don't win them all. I mean, hell, the gas tax repeal still stings, still hurts. But can't blame anyone on our side for lack of effort or lack of cause. They had to cheat in that election by changing the ballot title on us. 34 days before the election, before the ballots went out, they changed the damn title. These people are liars, cheats, and thieves. There's no validity to them whatsoever, and that's what we're up against. But we've also moved the needles in ways that, again, the Democrats know in this race that I'm now in, there's a reason why they're attacking me. They know that in 2018, we broke the supermajority. For a year and a half, we broke the supermajority in Sacramento by recalling State Senator Josh Newman for the gas tax and the car tax increase. Then, of course, the California Republican Party screwed everything up, lost a bunch of seats. And so the Democrats know that we represent a different style of fighting. We're not polite about it.
Good.
We don't worry about consequence. We're pretty blunt. We also are pretty effective with ninja-style communications and messaging, and we reach people in a different way. And all we're limited by is bandwidth and resource. The things that we need to do, number one, we've got to get our Republicans to start messaging and communicating. They're either unable or unwilling to go out and engage voters. Okay, I get the fact that our voters, our neighbors are gaslit. Like they're zombies on some of these issues. You look at them and you're like, you believe what? I mean, seriously? But look, how do you do that? It's not that they're dumb, it's that they haven't been given the right information. They haven't been given two sides of the story. That's why I really love the idea of Gavin Newsom running for president, because at least the national media, some of the conservative stations that are out there, will then pick apart his failed record. He will be held accountable. Didn't you love that debate where he got his ass kicked? Didn't you just love that? I mean, his hair gel couldn't save him. I mean, he was just sitting there like he didn't know what the hell was going on, because he got truth bomb after truth bomb. It was Reform California that put together the whole debate package for Hannity and for DeSantis.
Yeah.
We got that over to them. And even some of the lines that DeSantis used and that Hannity questioned him on, I was like, that's right out of the binder. That's right out of the data book. And again, with Newsom, his failures are so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. But this guy has never been held accountable. That's why my Democrat friends who say, oh, what went wrong with Kamala Harris? She's really not a great vice president. We don't vet our Democrats in California because they're never held accountable for their failures. So then they go to the national stage, and it's apparent that they are rank incompetent. Absolutely completely over their head. And so Newsom going for president, and I do believe he will be the Democrat nominee. Newsom going for president is an opportunity for us California Republicans to finally have our day in the court of public opinion. And be able to show just how awful, how rotten the situation is out here. But I have to blame Republicans. If you're not out there engaging voters, then what the hell are you doing? Well, we're losing these votes. Your job isn't just to go up and push the no button. I expect you to push the no button. Sadly, some of them don't even push the damn no button. Your job is to go out there and light a fire in the community. Politicians don't see the light until they feel the heat, and your job is to light those damn fires. Yep. You do it one voter at a time, one town hall at a time, one block at a time, one recall election at a time, one initiative at a time.
Thank you, Carl.
Every single day, you need to be out there talking to voters. I mean, I got to give it to the Democrats. They're always out there messaging. Oh my gosh, they're out there. They do a rally for a drop of a hat. Save the whales. Rosie O'Donnell needs another donut. I mean, they go out there and they are at street corners. They're at street fairs. They're in front of Vons. They're out there in the park, hooting and hollering. It's the same people, by the way. They just change shirts. Some of them don't change the shirts. But they're out there, and it's like rent a protester. But they get the attention, and people are like, oh, wow, didn't know that's happening. Gosh, we got to do something about that. We cannot judge these voters until we actually sit down and try to reach them. Particularly, I think some demographics haven't even heard from a conservative in years, and those are, for example, the Latino community. That seat that we won in Central Valley with John Duarte that I recruited, it's 51% Latino. It is plus 14 Democrat. No one saw this one coming. And I said, you know what? I think these Latinos, they know they've gotten screwed by the Democrat Party. We just need to shine a light and show what's going on. And so educating based on the issues, we've got to get out there and start preaching. We got to go out there and start converting one voter at a time. Second, we need better leaders. Oh my goodness. The awful caliber of people that we are sending to Sacramento on our side. I wouldn't trust these people to run a Rotary Club, okay, or a lemonade stand. But they're up there because it's the best damn job they've ever had. When I sit down and do candidate recruitment, I lay it all out on the table. You're going to be away from your family 3 days a week. You're going to be shit on during the campaign by the labor unions and the Democrats and the media. Then when you get up there, any good ideas you have will absolutely die. They will cut off your microphone in committee, and if you do too many bad things, they'll take away your office. Do you still want the job? And if they say yes, I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I got to check your mental health records first. But if you just said yes after that, and you see why, people said to me when I announced I was stepping down from radio, because the one thing I had to give up was the radio show because it's free airtime otherwise. They said, aren't you taking a pay cut? Aren't you, isn't this beneath you? Are you doing a state legislative seat? I said, look, I'm a warrior. If there's a part of the battlefield of the trench that I need to be in, I'll be there. I don't care if I've got the gun or the bullets or if I'm just watching for people coming across. If that's the job I'm supposed to do, that's where I'm showing up. Nothing's beneath me because this state needs everyone to do whatever they possibly can. But if you think I'm going up there to push a button and be a legislator, no, I'm going up there to do one guiding thing. I'm up there to give voice to the voiceless. I'm up there so that your argument is heard loud and clear, and I don't care if they turn off my microphone. I will find other creative ways to get that message across. Plus, I'm still doing the show, and I'll be doing the show every day from within the Capitol building, telling you what happened in committee, on the floor, everything behind the scenes, and they ain't gonna like that. It's a big old spotlight of transparency. I had a reporter ask me, don't you think that's gonna make you unpopular with your colleagues? I'm like, good, they will get the message. I'm glad that they understand that. And so we need people that are going up there knowing that this is a crappy job and that their job is to fight every single day. And if they're still willing to take the job, those are exactly the people we want. Third, we need to rebuild our grassroots workforce. This is where San Diego County gun owners came in. This is where Reform California comes in with boots on the ground. The Republican Party of California has contempt and disdain for the grassroots.
That's right.
They don't recruit volunteers. And if you're not recruiting volunteers, then it shows that you don't really value volunteers. Do you know that on there, when they do get people calling, they say, oh yeah, go to your local party. Oh yeah, go to the website and sign up. I get people who say, no one has ever asked me to stuff an envelope. No one's ever asked me to walk door to door. No one's ever asked me to make phone calls. You're the only one. When we did the recall of Laura Lothian, the election of Laura Lothian in La Mesa, Reform California and the gun owners showed up to walk every weekend. We flipped a Democrat seat. And people say, well, why did you do one Republican seat on La Mesa City Council? It's other 4 liberal Democrats. You got 1 seat. What is that going to do? Because Laura Lothian won. San Diego County gun owners worked with her with 1 vote and stopped the gun safe ordinance, and as well as several other pieces of legislation that they were proposing. 1 vote, 1 voice at a time can make a difference. But if it weren't for San Diego County gun owners showing up every single weekend, and we had San Diego County gun owner members from Carlsbad to Fallbrook drive all the way down to La Mesa on a Saturday, walk for 5 hours, and then drive all the way back home. That made a difference. But the Republican Party isn't activating volunteers because they see you as valuable. They don't care about the $25 donor because they're so interested in the $25 million donor. But Democrats actually get it right. They get legions of people. They gaslight them and activate them and lather them up, and they're all crazy. See some of the yahoos out there, protesting in support of terrorism, which it's like, boy, you really are committed if you're going out with that one. This is what I would like to stand next to. See me as an anti-Semite. I mean, it's clear what they're doing. But they get people to show up and activate because their party is constantly seeing it as a ground war. We need to see taking back our state from the left as a ground war. And the grassroots have to be at the front of that pack. 4th, we got to restore election integrity. The rules are against us, and that's why I've authored the California Voter ID Initiative. If you need an ID to buy a gun, if you need an ID to go on an airplane or get a pack of cigarettes or buy liquor, you should have a requirement to show your ID to vote in an important election. The 5th strategy is raise the financial resources to do the first 4 things. I hate it when politicians say, oh, I'm raising money for my campaign. I'm like, oh, let's back up the cart. What are you doing on the issues to educate? What do you stand for? What are you leading on? Show me that you're a real fighter. How do you have grassroots, and what are you doing door to door? How are you changing the rules? And if you can convince me of those first 4 things, I might give you money to invest in the program. We as supporters need to demand the first 4. I'll say it right now, don't give your money to the National Republican Party, it's never coming back. Don't give your money to the state Republican Party, these people are incompetent and they are cowards. Don't even give your money to the local San Diego Republican Party because they turned on the San Diego County gun owners and betrayed them in several races on endorsements. And they haven't done anything to actually support candidates in a long time. That's been Reform California. That's been San Diego County gun owners. Do give your money to candidates that you believe in and that you see an actual plan. I always say volunteer for the candidate first before you write that first check. Go kick the tires. Make sure they're actually real. Or give money to a single purpose organization like San Diego County gun owners because you know that that's going to be an organization that delivers on their mission. But we do need to get everyone donating again. $25, $5, it doesn't matter. Show up, do whatever you can, because everyone contributing a little bit creates the war chest. And the special interests can't stop us if we get just enough funding with enough people kicking in. I'm going to end on this, about this race. I did not have this on my bingo card this year. I first started thinking about doing this race in October when Kevin McCarthy was booted out of the speaker's race, the speaker's position. And I realized at that point there was a huge opportunity because Kevin McCarthy was in charge of the California Republican Party. Anything he wanted happened, and anything he didn't want to happen never happened. I said, this is a vacuum, and this is our opportunity for the grassroots to finally be in charge rather than an establishment politician. And so I started thinking about it over Thanksgiving, and I literally didn't make the decision until 3 days before filing. The Republican Party endorsed in this race 7 months before filing. And I said at the time it was a mistake. They treated us at Reform California the same way they mistreated Michael on the Hemmerling race, the sheriff's race. And I said, you shouldn't be endorsing in a Republican seat 7 months before filing, because frankly, it's a safe Republican seat. You should let the voters decide and not anoint someone. Well, they went with an inside swamp staffer. Let's just be very blunt about it. He spent 10 years working as a staffer. His culture, his mindset is all about that corrupt institution. They're like Stockholm Syndrome victims. They literally don't know how bad it is, and that their behavior is very much compliant with what the master or the hostage taker wants. We need a complete shift. We need people up there that are going to be of the fighting motif. And in this race, it kind of reminds me of what happened at the start of San Diego County gun owners. I'm going to tell the story. Do you mind?
Sure. Wait, which?
No, not that story. No. Not the one involving the lingerie. No. Back in 2015, Michael reached out to me. I don't know who reached out to me first. It was either Lisa, Gunther, or you. But all three of us got together.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And we went to a Denny's in UTC.
Yep.
And Lisa was distraught, panicked. Yeah, how many of you know Gunther Guns? Okay, great shop. Sorry. Great shop. Lisa and her husband were panicked. They took out a line of credit. They built a gun range to supplement their gun store. And they did everything by the book, everything right. They complied with every law, every regulation, every zoning requirement, everything. But someone decided that this needed to go to the city council. Yeah. Even though these projects are not supposed to go to the city council. He forced them before the city council, and then the city council, which was what, a 4-1 Republican majority? Or was it 5-1?
No, it was 5-0.
It was 5-0. This is disgusting. But it illustrates the rot of the Republican Party sometimes, of feckless, cowardly, unprincipled Republicans in office. A 5-0 Republican city council voted to reject the gun range because they said that it would create violence in Carlsbad. And remind you, they already built all this stuff. They took out the loan. They were screwed. And they said, what do we do? It was almost like, we made our decision, now go away. There's no recourse. I said, there's recourse. There's recourse. And so Michael started a committee, Carlsbad Gun Owners or something like that. And we raised $20,000. And I was on radio and I said, let me tell you what went down in Carlsbad. Mayor Matt Hall. And I really felt bad about doing this because Matt's a nice guy. And I started naming names of Republicans saying, you all have one meeting to docket this again and reverse your decision. Or we're going to recall one of you. I don't care which one. It's my gazelle strategy of, look, you go after the weakest one and then the others kind of, comply. And I remember Matt was calling you, was calling me, and they were screaming and yelling, and how could you do this to a Republican? Well, when you start acting like a damn Republican, we'll treat you like a Republican. Right. They docketed it and immediately changed their vote and approved the gun range. Cool. Now, the good guys won. From that, Michael said, this is fun. Let's continue doing this. It was a proof of concept. It's exactly why San Diego County Gun Owners is so effective, is that unlike a national group that says, or a statewide group, will remain unmentioned, that says, oh, we're the grand poobahs on Second Amendment, he actually shows up at the meeting, stares him down, and says, call the question. He actually is out there, boots on the ground, turning seats, like with Laura Lothian. Well, fast forward to Carlsbad. That 5-0 majority on the Republicans in 2015, by 2020 became a 3-2 Democrat-controlled council. I always say when Republicans lose their way, they're just inviting in the Democrats. Because our voters are like, if you're not principled, why should I bother voting for you? I might leave it blank this cycle. So it's a 3-2 Democrat council, and that meant they got the seat at Sandag for a Democrat. Sandag, San Diego Association of Government. And Corey Schumacher's on Sandag, a Democrat from Carlsbad. Oh, you want to talk about a leftist? Oh, she makes Rachel Maddow look like, I don't know, a John Birch Society member. Both of them don't wear pearls or lipstick. But so you've got Corey Schumacher on Sandag, and she became the swing vote in favor of the San Diego County mileage tax. And so they said, now that we got the votes, let's get this thing rolling, and they shoved it in the transportation plan. So we announced a number of things happened, and this, for gun owners, this is going to resonate. She was being criticized for the mileage tax, and so she was upset about the criticism on social media, so she accused 3 citizen activists of violent threats against her, and she took out a TRO against them. She actually had this Carlsbad police officers knocking on their doors in the middle of the night. So they get this TRO, they're panicked, they come to me, I get them a lawyer, and I said, there's a statute called the SLAP statute. SLAP means that a strategic lawsuit against public participation. And it's a very narrow statute, and we don't use it enough. We should. Conservatives should use it every damn time these bullies show up. SLAP means that if a government official does something publicly to try to limit your freedom of speech, that they are guilty of sanctions at that point. And so not only did she chill their free speech, she smeared their reputation. So we did a big media thing. First, the Union Tribune did an article saying that these violent people are attacking a city councilwoman, and she's afraid in the middle of the night. Yeah. And so, can you imagine having a TRO and you apply for a job, and someone says, "Oh, I did a search on you, and apparently you're a dangerous individual." Or maybe they'll use this TRO attacking or criticizing an elected official to take away your Second Amendment rights. I mean, we've got weirder things have happened in California. And so I say, we're going to get you a lawyer. We're going to sue this lady. We're going to sue her. And the judge not only dismissed the TROs, but ruled summary judgment on SLAP in favor of the 3 victims. And she then was like, okay, well, the Carlsbad taxpayers are going to have to pay for this because I did this in an official capacity. We said, no, you signed this complaint not on behalf of the Carlsbad City Council, because you didn't take it to the council and say, can I get a vote of the city council to instruct our attorney to file this paperwork? You did it as a private citizen, and you owe them $72,000 plus legal fees. And she's like, no, I'm going to take it, to city council. So I said, fine, we're just going to recall her. So we filed a recall. We collected the signatures, and just as we walked in the door to submit the signatures, she resigns. Coward. Coward. You don't want to face the music of the people, the rebuke. Well, we picked up the seat. Melanie Burkholder is now in there with the support of gun owners. Great. So I start running for this city, the state assembly seat, and the unions are, we're going to get you. You're an existential threat. Guess who is organizing and chairing the dark money campaign against me? Corey Schumacher. Look, I can't complain. I took her out of office, all right? I get it. But let me tell you the more serious and sinister message it sends to Republicans. They know they have a very outside chance of beating me. What they want to say is, you stand up to us, we'll go for you. We'll make an example of you, and you won't be able to run without a pass. And you'll have to deal with $500,000, or they say they're going to spend $1 million against me in 4 weeks. And they're colluding with a Republican, the anointed staffer, on all the hits. In fact, we have a copy of his information that he sent. He said, hit Carl this way, hit Carl that way, hit Carl this way. It's just all made up. But we have everything on the line now in this campaign. Because if we don't prevail, they will go to every Republican in Sacramento and say, Carl Demaio started with this massive lead, and we were able to take him down. You don't think we're going to be able to take you down since you're a feckless wonder and haven't done anything to get support? If we wanted to crush you, we could do it overnight, because you don't have the support he started with. So I'm going to need all of you in this fight. Even if you don't live in the 75th district, I need you all. I need you to volunteer, I need you to contribute. My campaign team passed out flyers, so you can go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, and contribute. Please do so. Every dollar is absolutely needed right now.
Can we just give you money?
You can't just give cash, no. We have to have an envelope. We have to have an envelope. If you want to, just mail in a check, because if you click under contribute, you have an option just to mail in a check. I'm going to need it 100%. Because after we destroy their little dark money campaign and push it back, we're pivoting, and we are going to elect the very first Reform California Caucus. We don't have a Freedom Caucus. I was like struggling with a name. I said, well, let's call it the Freedom Caucus of California. Well, why don't you just call it Reform California Caucus? We have 8 incumbents or shoo-ins that are going to be part of this caucus who've already signed up. And then on top of that, we are targeting 7 other seats, and we have local elected officials that want to be part of it. The membership requirement is that you are going to take a piece of the fight and lead it in your region. I said very clearly, I don't want to do this all, I can't do it all. I want a Carl Demaio or a Kevin Kiley in every part of the state. I want a Dane White in every city.
Yes. Yeah.
I want a Laura Lothian on every city council and a Melanie Burkholder in every city council. Those are the sorts of people with that DNA that I want to populate in so many places around this region. You disagree on this one? I want an Anthony Carnevale on every school board. Great guy in the Cajon Valley School District. He actually had the gall to read the curriculum and actually ask for who are they funding in terms of left-wing groups. And he actually defunded the left in his first year. And it's just amazing. So I want these fighters, just one. I'm not asking for a majority on every council. I just want one agitator on every damn council in this state, because if you do that, it'll be the disinfectant that actually starts moving policy quicker than we've ever imagined. So please stay and fight. Please fight with this team that we've put together. Please be in this fight for the next 6 weeks in the 75th Assembly District. And with that, I guarantee you, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to get a majority in the next 2 years, okay? I'd love to see that happen. But what we're going to do is we're A, going to move the needle. B, we're going to get some scalps over the fireplace. We're going to give Democrats consequences for their bad behavior. And from there, we are going to build that governing coalition. It is going to happen. We are going to take back our state. Questions, comments, suggestions?
No.
Don't be shy.
Carl.
Yes, sir.
To donate to your campaign, do we do that directly to Reform California, or is there a separate?
Go to reformcalifornia.org. My campaign now, under campaign finance rules, has to pay for the entire Reform California movement, except for ballot measures. We now have a separate ballot measure committee. So when you see us fighting tax increases or doing my voter ID initiative, that's paid for out of the ballot measure committee. But the lawyers said, if you're going to do this, you're going to now have to raise the money through your assembly committee for everything. I said, well, I'm kind of a good fundraiser, so I will do that. I will take on the responsibility to not have a campaign that's promoting me, but rather promoting the movement. People say, Reform California, that's a separate committee. I'm like, no, you don't get it. Reform California is a movement. And it's not me, it's not a committee, it is a movement of everyone who is pissed off with what you have done to this great state. And that movement is about to put a boot up your ass in Sacramento. and people are like, they're not able to get it. They're like, wait, is Reform California now a committee? I'm like, no. It became a movement the second we decided we're taking on candidate races and trying to elect people in different positions. So donate online at reformcalifornia.org, and then that goes directly into the fight.
To your campaign.
To the campaign, yep.
Is
Yes.
the SLAP statute state?
The SLAP statute is a federal statute,
Okay.
but we also have a similar state statute. The two of them come together. And it basically is any time your government tries to take away your freedom of speech or your participation in the democratic process. I mean, all these, I actually think we could do a class action SLAP. I'm going to research this one on AB 1078 that says that you can't change school curriculum.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're basically saying is, parents, you need not even look at the curriculum because it doesn't matter what you have to say. You're not able to change it anyway. And so we have to start using lawfare.
Yep.
We have to file lawsuits at every turn. And, San Diego County Gun Owners has the two two-track strategy of politics as well as making sure that they pursue and partner with other organizations on litigation. And their litigation has been quite successful. And it has had national implications, so much so that the Supreme Court Justice, which one was it? Was it Clarence Thomas?
Yeah.
Cited San Diego County gun owners' CCW work in saying, hey, CCWs do not result in an increase in gun violence and crime, because in San Diego, they did a big change, and as a result, nothing's happened there. So they're making impacts through litigation. I don't think conservatives use lawsuits as effectively as the left does. They've weaponized the courts. We must use the courts as our weapon to defend our freedoms.
Right.
Question.
Yes.
Perhaps relevant to others in the room, Second Amendment. The legislature is at war with people who own guns. Is there a RICO lawsuit that could be levied against the legislature for its focus on its anti-Second Amendment activities? Because it's an organized.
Yeah, it is an organized. So I've said multiple times that if a legislature or a governor, like we have in California, gets slapped down so many times and rebuked by the Supreme Court so many times for wantonly violating the law, the Constitution, shouldn't there be like some penalty box? Like, shouldn't they like not be able to pass laws, or shouldn't they like get a fine at least? And so, that's something that I think I'd like to see our congressional delegation in California introduce. Even someone outside the state of California, if they want to do it, and they can say, I'm using California as the model. These people wantonly violate constitutional rights, and recent case law from the Supreme Court. The CCW law, SB 2, violates directly the U.S. Supreme Court decision from like 7 or 8 months ago. I mean, this is not rocket science. A first-year law student could figure this one out. And so even Merrick Garland can figure this one out. And so shouldn't there be some sort of dialogue about this? How about with mass shooters? In California, it's all immediately when mass shooting happens, in any place in this country, and Newsom's already out there tweeting. And what do you hear from Republicans in Sacramento? Silence, dead silence. And so what I want to do is, okay, fine, let's talk about mass shootings, and I want to get facts on the table. So I want a state law that says that for every mass shooter, that the public gets a full toxicology report on that mass shooter within 72 hours, and it's made public. Oh, by the way, I want to see their mental health record as well. But Carl, that's against HIPAA. They're a mass shooter, for God's sakes. You're taking our freedoms away. You don't want to talk about their HIPAA rights? So even if we lose the argument, I want to make the argument at every turn. Michael briefed me last week on some great plans he has to start looking at the false narrative that the DOJ of the state of California and the governor have been pumping out in collusion with the Giffords group, the Everytown group. These left-wing groups are lying, and they're citing each other as well. It's not, who are our sources? It's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom puts out a press release. Oh, who's my source? It's Gabby Giffords. She says her source is who? Governor Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
There's no real data to support their claim that gun control makes us safer. In fact, the data suggests it's quite the opposite.
Definitely.
Where the hell are our legislators saying, I want to do an oversight hearing. I want you to come before this hearing. We want to see the data sets, and we want you to walk through and prove that this is actually supported by data. You may not be able to win a vote, but you can sure as hell ask the questions, for God's sakes. So what we need to do is have these legislators put on the spot to be our voice. Again, I don't expect we're going to win the vote on the first time, but I want you to give voice to our side. Voice to the voiceless should be our theme for the first year. You need to hear us fighting for you on these issues vocally. Because if you don't start fighting vocally, you're never going to move the needle.
Question over here.
2 more questions, and then I know I want to hand the program back over to the folks. Yes?
How do they actually create these laws without a vote? Without, a residential vote or a citizen vote, right? So
How do they change laws without a vote?
Yeah,
Of the
like-
people. They don't have to get a vote of the people on gun control, although, boy, wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, just like any other thing that you put, on the ballot to vote for, how does it like, how do they decipher what should be on the ballot versus what not should be on the ballot?
Okay, so the legislature can pass laws all day long that they want. But there are certain things that they have to take to the vote of the people. Taxes used to be one of them, but they've gutted Prop 13, and we're trying to restore that with my Taxpayer Protection Initiative, which is on your handout. Every once in a while, they put something on the ballot because they can do it, but they want to lather you up or lather some voters up. So they'll put a symbolic resolution on. I don't know, what was the one that they did recently? It was like, I don't know, is climate change real, yes or no? Yeah, something bizarre that they put on the ballot, and you're looking at it, you're saying, why is this on the ballot? They're doing it just to generate turnout. The abortion measure they did last time. California's pro-choice as a law. That law, made things worse, actually. Prop 1 made things worse. But they put it on the ballot not because of the issue. They lied about the issue. They put it on because they wanted turnout of their base. They're putting gay marriage on the ballot in November. Ain't nothing to happen on that issue. But they're doing it because they want to flip seats. They want to just generate controversy and get people out there. And so they put things on the ballot. They put, was it Prop 63 was the gun grab effort? Yeah. Prop 63. They could have put those laws into place by just passing them. Take a look at what they're doing on SB 2. They do it all the time. The gun tax, they do it all the time. They did it because they wanted to put the chum in the water because they want to win power. It's never been about the argument of what's in that initiative. They want power. They want to win seats. They want politicians to climb the ladder. And so not everything has to go to a public vote. The problem we're having is that when they put things on the ballot, they lie to us in the ballot title. And that is completely frustrating. So our broken system, again, there's a lot for us to go after. But what do? You focus one at a time. We did that with the recall of that Josh Newman guy. I said, I want to go after all of them. I want them all out. But I don't have the resources to do it. They know it, I know it. So instead, we're going to go with the gazelle strategy. We're going to pick the weakest one, the one with 3 legs, and we're going to take this one out, and we're going to lay it down for the slaughter. And what happened with that, not only did we break the supermajority, his name in that Capitol building for 4 years lingered as like the ghost of Josh Newman. And they all were looking over their shoulders. Politicians don't care until one of their own loses their job. You want to speak their language? Boot one of them out of office. And on the mileage tax, that's what we did. We do not have a majority. We don't even have a 1/3 right now on Sandet. But we booted enough of their politicians out of office. Dane White won against McNamara, flipping the mayor's seat. The Democrats said it was not possible. He worked his ass off. He flipped that seat on the mileage tax. We flipped the seat over in Carlsbad with Melanie with mileage tax. John McCann in Chula Vista, mileage tax in La Mesa. So those are 4 seats that went from Democrats to Republicans. They weren't expecting to lose. We didn't get a majority. We didn't even get 1/3. But we picked off enough of those ducks, speaking of duck hunting, that they reversed the mileage tax and said, okay, now is not a good time. We'll do it later. We'll do it in the future. You don't need to get the supermajority broken or even a majority to start seeing results in terms of change in policy. We just got to start picking off some of these folks. It's not gonna happen overnight, but if you stick with this program, if you fight like hell, we're gonna be able to show some results, and people will start thinking, maybe I should stay. More importantly, maybe I should actually get off the damn couch and get involved in the fight. The fact that all of you are here tonight, this is amazing. Has this ever been this big here?
This is a big crowd. Thank you all for coming.
This is wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you for hosting us tonight. Really appreciate it. Our information's on the website, on the flyer that you have there. Please support us, stand with us in this important fight. Thank you so much.